What's up, Amazon sellers? If you are thinking about starting on Amazon and want to learn how to scale to 6 figures and beyond, then today I am #excited because I've got none other than Gavin Sweeney with us, and he's going to share with us his journey from 0 to 600,000 in just 18 months. And guess what? He only started with £1,500. Stay tuned. This is going to be exciting. Gavin, thank you so much for joining me, and obviously thank you for making yourself available from your business. If anyone's not met you before, can you just introduce yourself and explain who you are?
Yeah, first thing is, Thomas, thanks for the invite. Really appreciate being invited to this. When I first started on Amazon, I was like, I've seen all these big sellers doing these YouTube channels. I thought it'd be pretty sick if I can get onto one of these one day. That's when you know you've made it. Yeah, my name is Gavin Sweeney. I live in Birmingham right now. I started Amazon around May 2020. Did not have much capital at all, just £1,500. And now I have 7 VAs in total. I got my 7th starting this week, or I think it's next week. I'm growing a Filipino army right now, which is fantastic. Really happy to be here, and I'm glad to share my knowledge and what I've learned, because it's been quite an interesting journey.
Prior to Amazon, what were you doing? Tell me about that.
So before I started Amazon, was it like a lurker on Twitter where you just follow people, you don't post, you don't do anything? And my actual job was, I was a full-time CRM consultant for a Microsoft-based Microsoft Google partner company, which basically means we build glorified databases. My role in that was a mixture of programming and consultations. The job was okay, and the people were amazing. It was a small company, it was fantastic. But it's kind of like, I don't look at myself, it's like, do I want to be doing this in 40 years, still having to take some Microsoft exams? Not really, no.
I know the feeling. Hey, I've been there as well, and it's like constant training development, you're okay, but for me it was like bar management. Do I want to be doing that when I'm in 40 years time? No, not at all. So you've not got a background in Amazon or even reselling prior to that. What made you start on Amazon?
So I don't have a background in Amazon, but I've been buying off Amazon relentlessly since 2010. So when I seen people posting about it in Twitter, I think it just connects, because it's like, I spend all my money on Amazon anyway, so I may as well make money on Amazon. I think as a child, when I was wanting to buy phones or something like that, it would take me a week to decide on which phone to buy, because I just spent every single hour investigating. I think it just kind of clicks. I knew I'd be good at this. I had no confidence, but a lot of confidence at the same time for doing it.
Oh my God. So for you, thinking about, hey, I'm spending money on Amazon, and I'm actually now, I might as well start making money as well. How did you get started? Tell me about that journey.
So there's a few Discord groups on Twitter. I got into a Discord group. The people in that group was extremely helpful. It wasn't UK focused, so I had no UK help or anything like that. There was also Facebook groups which I joined, like yours, Luke's, Vlad's, all extremely useful groups. I'm sure there's many others as well. I got into Amazon I leveraged a lot of the knowledge from the groups, but then I think I just went out and hustled. When I first started Amazon, I was only doing retail arbitrage. I didn't know any of the shops that were good. And to tell you the truth, I was buying things at first to sell at break even, just because I thought, yeah, it would be pretty good to get some metrics. Because everyone always talks about how quick Amazon is to ban you. So I'm like, oh, damn, okay. I'm just gonna sell a few things at break even, get some metrics, and make sure Amazon trusts me. So that's what I've done. And it was kind of a ludicrous journey, because I was living in London, right? In a small flat in London. And when I first started, no idea what shops to go to. Okay, Asda, B&M, TK Maxx. So I would make routes of the locations in London, and I'd head out on 6 AM on a Saturday, and then I get back at 5 PM with nothing. And then it's okay, I'm not gonna do anything until the next day now. So I'd go back out, do some more, hit a Sainsbury's, something like that. So really, I just hustled really hard at the start. It was pretty nuts, to be honest.
Wow. So if I just clarify, so you started selling on Amazon using other people's, joining groups, talking, learning, should we say lurking, as you say, absorbing that knowledge. And obviously you thought about the risks, the downside, and you, should we say, just turned some stock for no profit to build up some metrics, to build up some experience, so maybe Amazon wouldn't suspend you if it was going to. And then it was about, it sounds like you started with RA, is that right? Retail arbitrage?
Yeah, RA. I heard about OA, but from what I heard from the web, you need a bit more money to start, and that you can get higher margins doing RA. Where it's okay, if I want to grow as quick as possible, then I have more time than anything else. So I may as well do whatever it takes to get the higher margins. So that was my thought process behind that.
Wow, okay. So, and how long, do you still do RA today?
Oh no. Because when I was doing RA, I had no car. I was literally carrying like B&M bags full of stuff. I remember one time there was some yearly essential security alarms from B&M, which are super popular, and there was like £50 selling for like 120. Now, you can imagine me getting on a tube with 2 B&M bags with like four of them in each bag, and it probably weighed about 20 kilo on each bag. So it's like, it just became a massive workout. So I'm not going through that pain again. Like, it was a good hustle whilst it lasted. It got me to where I am. But yeah, like, some things have to come to an end, and that was definitely one of them.
So the reason for starting RA, less capital, any other reasons at all?
No, it was just less capital. Because, as I said, if I want to expand as quick as possible, then I want to make as much money as possible. What's the best way to do that? Because I just have an abundance of time, right? Because it's not like I have 10, 20K, where it might be quite hard to spend that even online if you're just getting started. So it's like, yeah, I just hit the shops because I want the best bang for the buck.
So I'm reading between the lines here. So you're saying out of the RA and OA, RA is more profitable, should we say, per bang for the buck than OA is?
So there's no definitive answer to that, but when because you can have a clearance sale in RA, right, which many OA deals can't compare, but it gets to the point doing RA with diminishing returns. So I can keep spending like hours traveling to each shop, but if I've got money that I can't spend, then is that the best use of my time? Then I can start leveraging OA to start spending that.
RA starting out with, and obviously trying to get the most amount of money you can.
Yeah, and then you transition to OA.
Returns. So talk about, so how long were you doing RA for?
I think about October, November. It got to a point where I wasn't really doing RA anymore. I was doing click and collect with printers.
Okay.
And actually, I do have a photo of myself somewhere with a trolley of about 15 printers carrying from Argos in London. It was hilarious. I built such a good reputation with the company at Argos, or the branch. So what I'd done is I would buy them donuts, because technically it was against their terms of service what I was doing, right? Because it's like I'm buying like 20 printers from one shop with different email addresses. So I'd buy them all donuts and just like sweet talk them. Literally. And then they'd help, yeah, literally. So they would then help me out, and they'd like give me a trolley. They're like, yeah, so it was fantastic. But I wouldn't really say that's RA, that's like click and collect RA, it's a little bit different.
Call it click and collect RA, call it hybrid RA. I don't know, but the one thing which you're showing there is you're understanding a model which is working for you, and what you're doing is you're improving it and you're making it better. You don't have to do the same thing over and over again. It's figure out what works, and that's well done to you. You said obviously you were doing it until like October, November. How many months was that since starting? Should we say you've ended the RA journey?
Well, I started in May, so it's like 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so 4 or 5 months is pretty hardcore.
I would say one good advice from what I just said there, though, actually, is the fact that I bought the guy's donuts. Like, relationship building is so key. I've done it with my UPS drivers as well. I'd buy them donuts and stuff like that. So they give me like a phone call 30 minutes before they arrive so I can get everything ready. Yeah, we can definitely make our lives a lot easier just by being nice to the other party.
And donuts cost nothing, don't they?
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
It's like infinite ROI there, infinite.
So you're doing RA, you've done it for 4 or 5 months, and just give us an idea. So you started with 1,500, obviously 0 revenue at that point. You know, top of your head, where do you think you were revenue-wise after 4 or 5 months?
Probably about between 8 and 15K revenue. Like, I'm not one of these sellers who just like grew super quick. I was one of the slow burners who just kept at it and then started scaling quick. Because the way it kind of went is, when I started transitioning to Aware, I was using sourcing softwares like Source Mogul, Tactical Arbitrage, but I realized I wasn't really learning the game myself. I wasn't learning websites. So then I tried to learn the websites, but then I realized I didn't like spending all my time searching for £5 or £10 items. So I refused all that, got into high ticket items, and then found quite a few trends. So there was 2 trends. There was printers, which I went absolutely insane on. And there was also like flight controllers. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but
like, how do you
like Hotus, like air flight controllers, or racing steering wheels, this kind of stuff.
Oh,
so they went absolutely nuts.
Wow.
You was looking at like 100 to 200% ROI with instant sellability for them.
Wow, that's amazing.
So instead of me doing like normal OA, I started focusing on like these trending items. And once I found the trend, I remember I had a consultation call with Luke, and he gave me some advice. And one of the things I was talking about was like, how do I get more money? So he gave me like not financial advice at all, but he was talking about he used PayPal credit. I was like, okay, I looked into that with no credit experience whatsoever. So I got PayPal credit, spent that within like the first week. Then a month later, I got Hyfax credit, which is like quite a big one. That was like 7K. Spent that within a week as well. That's when I started ramping up. It was the transition from RA to OA, then moving from automated software to like trying to do normal OA, refusing that because I didn't feel like that was the best use of my time. Then going to high ticket trending items, and then things just started really taking off.
Wow, oh my God, there is a lot there. There's a lot there. I'm trying to break it down.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What you're saying. So one question I really want to ask what you're saying there is, my God, if someone is starting today, they're looking at getting started on Amazon, they're looking at manual sourcing, leads lists, and software sourcing. You said you started software sourcing, but then you moved away from that.
Yeah.
Why? Like, surely that's like where you should be going. That's what we all think.
So the thing with software sourcing, right, these automated softwares, is that everybody uses them and they don't really pick up on like discount codes, promotions, exclusive email newsletters, the sites missing. Like, these sites were good to learn sites to source from, but then I had to like work out how to do it on my own. Now, because for example, right now I have very specific knowledge about so many different sites, and sourcing software is not going to pick up on that. So you can rely on like tactical arbitrage and source smuggle, but from my experience, that's going to limit your growth as a seller to get to like where you want to go if you got like good ambitions. If you got 5,000 people using the same sourcing software, they're looking at the same size, they're looking at the same deals, you've got a good chance of hitting the same levels of saturation there. I think the best tool is usually a mix. Like, you might use a few sourcing softwares, then you mix that with like competitor sourcing, newsletter sourcing. So I think it's kind of like a journey that people go through where they start on RA, they move to OA, they start looking at deal sheets, they start looking at sourcing software, which can all be super useful. But what I done is I built like a list of the websites that was going well, or just like what type of websites I should look from, and then I just start sourcing from them myself.
I agree, and it's really interesting because I understand what you're saying. Like, I see it all over the forums. Hey, I'm using the sourcing software. This is too hard. It's not working. How do you guys do it? If you do the general same as everyone else, you get the same results. But the real money is in the niches. The real money is in understanding how a website works and how to do certain bits. And we were talking off camera about this, and you were mentioning about a website, and we won't name it. They had if you create an account, 1 in like 10 accounts has a special discount code that you're only supposed to use once, but you figured out that you could use it more than once for the entire day, and like you're racking like $5,000 through that one account. And that's about the domain knowledge and really trying to test things, and software just cannot do that.
Exactly, and that comes with experience. But how do you get that experience if you just rely on the sourcing software? Because it kind of cuts you off there, and that's what I learned, and I learned that the hard way. Because I must have been trying to use this sourcing software for like 2 months. That I'd move away, and I'm like, oh, online sourcing is too hard. Go back to the software, and it's kind of like just going around in a circle. It's like, okay, nope, gonna cut it off now. That's that. I'm done.
My God. So, question for you. Obviously, you're now smashing it, and I know this calendar year right now you've done, I think it's just about 500,000, is that right?
Just over 500,000 right now, yeah.
That's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So you did like 6 months last year, and now this calendar year, we're in just starting December, and now 500,000. You're aiming to do 6 by the end of the year, is that right?
Yeah, so my target for this month is 100K revenue. Last month was 73K. I think at the moment we are on target to hit 100K. But yeah, it's a challenge. Thank you. It's a challenging goal, and it's pretty exciting. But I have like an insanely awesome team, so I think we can do it.
Fantastic. Well, we'll come to the team in a second, and obviously future plans. But I just want to come back. We talked about sourcing software. Would you use sourcing software again or not?
Well, the question would be, why would I use sourcing software? What am I going to get out of it? So the answer to that would be probably no. Because rather than me like relying on the sourcing software now, it's like, well, I can pay for this, or just get another person to work for me and just like get them to do more.
Okay.
So I'm less focused on the sourcing software, more focused on building systems, processes, and a solid team.
Fantastic. So let's do this. Let's talk about your team, because that's a big key part of your business. And you said instead of software, I'd hire someone else. And then the bit after the team I'd love to learn about is, should we say, investment in the business thereafter. So let's come back. Let's talk about the team. You talked about VAs, you talked about using VAs. And so we've got this journey from you doing RA, working incredible, working stupidly long hours. Mm-hmm. Definitely I can hear it from your story. It's about hustle, hustle, hustle. And I think that's something that anyone can take away. But in regards to VAs, hiring a team, why? Why hire a VA? Why hire someone to do this for you? Surely they're a risk, a liability, and a hassle.
Well, the way I see it is you have to hustle hard until you can hustle smart. And hustling smart is then getting the VAs, moving to the management and focusing on the long term. And when you start to get these VAs, you'll see a short-term decline for a long-term reward. And it's like, I can't do everything myself forever. And I want to live a life too. I don't want to be doing 12 to 16 hours days for like the rest of my life, when I can leverage other people's time. And it's like, your team then becomes a second family as well. Like, I know my team very well and I care about them a lot. And they're all amazing, so it's like, you then create this, I don't know what the right word would be, but it's like, you create an environment that just promotes growth, and they'll teach you stuff too. So yeah, you're creating something like far more amazing with a team than what you could do by yourself. And it's much more rewarding, because you get to see the rewards of then seeing your team grow, which is ludicrous, because I got my VA team member, however you want to call it, in like April or May this year. She's now the purchasing manager and she's helping me run the business. And there's other VAs who they're all just doing amazing. Like, one of them submitted 130 deals on one of the days on Black Friday, and we bought 125 of them.
What, in one day?
Yeah, in one day. I don't even know like how that's possible, but yeah, it's insane.
We talk about getting, 10 deals a day, and you're doing like, yeah, we got 130. You're like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think on average, they probably do about, so they have like what, 4, 5, 6 months experience now. They're probably doing like 15 to 20 deals a day purchased.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started like May, should we say, and then finished the first year RA hustling, and then coming around, is it May this year you hired your first VA?
Yeah. So that's a good point. It doesn't leave that period, right? The January to May. And this is really interesting, because this is where I got into Amazon flips. So everybody knows like printers were amazing now, right? That's where I made most of my money. And so what I was doing was, I looked through the top 100, or was the top 200 of every single printer on Amazon in the UK. I'd then make keeper trackers of the printers on Amazon's lowest price. So if Amazon came into stock, I can then buy them out. And then I'd look at all of the EU printers. So I scanned every single printer of every single market in EU, see what the demand was like there and the supply was like. Then I'd done the same in USA as well. So I was looking at the overall market situation of the entire world to judge the UK supply. And I think in February, I sold over 1,000 printers.
Wow.
It was absolutely insane. You focus on Amazon, and then you get a lot of experience in many different areas, right? And then it's like, you kind of got like a self-fulfilling circle that you can build income streams around the main business. Then you live off that, and the spare money, you can put it back into the business as well.